you kind of apply the game of Tetris to other aspects of your life, because I obviously say that if something's not fitting or we have to move things around, especially when you're putting the groceries in the fridge, I'm kind of like, this is a game of Tetris. Like, that's how I kind of integrate that into my own life. And it's really funny how much that sticks. Hey everyone, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMXND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing Tetris, the new Apple TV Plus movie directed by John S. Baird. I will go to bat for Taron Egerton. I think he is a phenomenal performer. I think he's so beyond talented. So whenever he does a movie, I'm all for it. I love him so much. I still have to watch Blackbird, but I wanted to watch Tetris because Taron is really good in these biographical films, and he nails it every time. So he plays Hank Rogers, who is the publisher for Tetris. He has his own software company that he works for, and he saw at this video game convention that Tetris was something that the crowds were going to. And instead of focusing on his own game that was going absolutely nowhere, he already lost money on it just to like get the units out for this convention itself, he takes on Tetris. Now, as a kid growing up, I did lean towards Tetris a bit more than other games. I had fun with it. I loved that it felt easy, but at the same time, it was like such a strong puzzle game that you get really frustrated and you come back to it over and over again. And that's the beauty of this game. And you kind of apply the game of Tetris to other aspects of your life, because I obviously say that if something's not fitting or we have to move things around, especially when you're putting the groceries in the fridge, I'm kind of like, this is a game of Tetris. Like, that's how I kind of integrate that into my own life. And it's really funny how much that sticks. So I actually downloaded the game. I downloaded the app on my phone right after I watched this, just because watching Tetris just gives you that feeling of like, this is actually a damn good game. Like, why am I not playing it as often as I used to? So we start off with Hank Rogers. As I said, he sees this game. He goes to his company and he says, this is going to be a surefire thing. We need to get behind it. We need to do like arcade consoles on the computer as well, everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And here's the thing. Tetris originated in Russia. It originated in Russia, and no one really knew that it originated in Russia, but the patent itself was in Russia. And then obviously the Americans came in. There were some, people from the UK that also came in, and it was kind of spread very thin. So no one really knew who had the rights, who had the patent, who had the right to publish for certain either like consoles or arcade games. No one really knew. So it was all trying to fight for the copyright, to fight for the patent, essentially, to have it published into like multiple consoles for people to play this, make the most money at the end of the day. So the first half of this really integrates Tetris itself with the 8-bit game. And I thought that the animation was really cool. That integration was a lot of fun, because you have Taron Egerton at the beginning of this as Hank Rogers, and he is basically going through the motions of where Tetris originated, who had it first, and he knows all this information because he obviously did research. And you have the 8-bit coming in like level 1, level 2, this is so-and-so, and you have these like pixelated images on screen. So I really think that the first half of Tetris is very strong, just because they stayed true to the game. However, here's the issue with most biopics. You kind of hook the audience in the first half because it feels a bit different. It's not like your generic biopic storyline that we've seen. Then once we get to the middle, it goes heavy into like Cold War territory, and you get a political drama that doesn't really mesh well with the story of Tetris that you put forward at the beginning of this. So I think it had such potential if they focused a bit more on the gaming process to kind of educate viewers, instead of going into like the politics of what was happening in Russia and how people were living in Russia. I think the tone switch was really like a hard pivot. And then they tried to bookend the pixelated like animation at the end of it, but it was just so far gone and detached by then that it didn't really work for me. So that's the only thing that I can say. It's like you start off very strong. I was like vibing with it. And then once we got to Russia, that whole middle portion is where it kind of faltered for me. It's not like it was, I don't want to say it was boring or like uninteresting, like making deals and going back and forth and talking about who's going to get what is always interesting, but I felt like it dragged out. Like that middle portion could have been like chopped down a bit just because there was too much talking. I think the most fascinating thing for me is that Hank Rogers wanted to go to Nintendo straight out with Tetris, which ended up working out in the long run. But to see, I think the best thing for me was like, I loved playing with my Game Boy. And at the time that Tetris was like coming out, Nintendo was developing the Game Boy. So to kind of see that this was like a big deal, this handheld, this first handheld for everyone was a big deal. You know, I thought that was the most fun aspect of Tetris, but I feel like they lean too heavily into the political side of the world, of the social climate in Russia when all of this was happening, more so than leaning into what makes Tetris. And I think that you could have had a bit more fun with it, as you did in the first half of this. But seeing that Game Boy, just the joy on my face, it was absolutely perfect, that moment. So it had potential. It had potential to be great. It had potential to be a bit stronger. It does just, it's biopic territory. That's it. It started off strong, like I said. So I'm going to give it a 2.5, unfortunately, for Tetris. I really wanted to love it for Tara, and I do. He's fantastic in it. He's so good. But I think it just wasn't strong enough as a whole. I really wanted more of the Tetris integration, the 8-bit gaming, the pixels. I thought that would be a little bit more fun, and it just felt a bit detached in the middle. So if you guys enjoyed Tetris, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what other video game story you would want to see on the big screen as like a biopic, as something that's like educational and informative, you know, the making of Atari, or, you know, the making of a PlayStation, you know, like something like that. Let me know what you guys think of game development and seeing it on screen. Based on what we got in Tetris, I think that'd be really cool to see something like that. So let me know in the comments below what you would like to see next. Let me know what your favorite Taron Egerton film is. I love him. We need to see more of him. He's phenomenal in Rocketman, but I fell in love in Kingsman. So whatever he does, I'm watching. I really am. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. If you want to help me grow this community, you can check down below ways to help support the channel. And guys, I just want to thank you so much for 900 subscribers. Hopefully, like, it stays that way. I know I'm a bit premature when it comes to these sub numbers, but I am just absolutely floored that I have 900 subs right now. You guys have all been wonderful. Thank you so much for supporting me and my content. I really do appreciate it. And we're only going up from here this year, guys. There's so many great releases, and I can't wait to pump out more content for you guys. So I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.